2, 1, boost ignition, and liftoff, and all systems are go.
Welcome to the Lesbo and The Bean universe. Lesbo and The Bean. LaTB, LaTB, where mixed martial arts and the UFC get silly. Big silly. Buckle up and move your tray tables to their upright position. And please, somebody shut that baby up. It's time for Lesbo and The Bean.
Welcome back. Episode 103, about to get down. We're chugging right along. We got weeks on the way. We've still had a big fallout from our previous fight week, and quickly, I want to just get to the response that I feel like Lesbo was alluding to on our last show of Raquel Pennington and her corner kind of knowing each other better than anyone, and Raquel has since backed her corner and saying, thank you guys for allowing me to have the chance to potentially win a fight, even though she lost, that all the injuries are superficial. And I would just like to say, Lesbo, good call.
Also, broken nose in fighting. You can get over it. You can get over, and I'm sure it was a gnarly broken nose. But anyone who's had a broken nose knows they bleed like a motherfucker.
Sure.
Even the little ones bleed like a motherfucker.
So,
but it didn't look little. It looked like her nose just exploded.
I do want to gloat a little bit with a prediction I had though before in that same fight, and that was Raquel Pennington's leg had come back from a big injury, and the first thing she said after that fight was, I thought I broke my leg in the first round where the first two kicks, and she thought it felt like she had heard it previously the exact same way because that's where she kicked, and she wanted to throw up from that point on. And I kept saying, how do you come back from where almost losing your leg to all of a sudden be in top level competition? It's just unreal. So, spot on that one. Mackenzie Dern
what we'll say here at Lesbo and The Bean is we know our Lesbos. We tend to know our Lesbos.
That's a good
Take
point.
it for what it is.
So, can I bring up Mackenzie Dern?
I guess. This bitch.
She's come out and talked a lot. She's got all sorts of still breaking news coming out with.
Her translators come out to tell us. Just kidding.
But she's also said she weighed in, was it the week of the fight when she missed her flight at 131 pounds or 139 pounds as she arrived to the UFC?
I don't know. In my opinion, going into fight week, either one, too big.
Yeah, well.
Either one, 31 or 39.
I think 31. Wait, 115?
Yeah. I think 15 in the week is my final line.
That's unreal.
15 in a week is my final line. So if it was so she's 1 pound over my final line. And I know some guys, they can cut 30 pounds, but I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Why I bring this up is because the money to be made is exactly with what I heard that Mackenzie was doing to cut that weight. She was putting sweatsuits on, doing minimal work, and going into the sauna. She was just trying to sweat it all out instead of actually exercise it out. But it's just a testament to all of the prior planning and everything.
Her body looked like she didn't try to exercise it out.
Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking about Mackenzie Dern, and I think like the WME or whatever the powers that be have tried to give her this push.
Sure.
They like the way she looks. Maybe they thought she was going to be Ronda-esque. I think she fares better in the 125.
I would agree with that.
The competition is not nearly as stiff, and she's not going to get, we still haven't seen Mackenzie Dern in the UFC at 115, so we don't know if she's going to be good at 115. We've seen her maul people at 120, and they've been 115, but in my opinion, I just don't think the competition's that steep at 125, and you can play it for the next few years. You don't have to get her to bullet level anytime soon. There's a lot of Montano. Dern might be a good run, and I don't know how much she tried.
Exactly.
And so if she tried at all, if this Mackenzie Dern was any bit of depletion of Mackenzie Dern, because another thing you have to say about it, even though she's a bigger girl and stuff, she did lay out Amanda Bobby Cooper with a punch. That was a punch. It
was a heavy duty punch.
Like, I didn't see it coming. No one saw her winning like that, like getting that kind of
drop first.
Or do you think that's how like a big girl bully in high school just hits?
I think she was a little bit bigger in general, Bobby Cooper, again, before we got to all of that, I was saying Yoder could beat. Just throwing that out there.
I think Amanda Bobby Cooper beats Yoder.
I think that's the next fight for them to be had is Yoder, Bobby Cooper, and that's a make it or break it. But with all of this, it's just fade coming. Oh, apparently Dern is already with the UFC working with a nutritionist and all of their stuff. But we've seen this before. UFC will offer all that, but UFC's also kind of like, you got to move to Vegas. And we know we got a beach body on this girl. She likes to be in a bikini, and there ain't no beaches.
Juicy.
And
juicy.
The middle of the desert. They're artificial, but
she needs a good camp, but if she's a prima donna... But this is the other thing I was thinking about with her that we were discussing yesterday is this somebody with daddy issues? And this isn't even a girl thing. We see a lot of fighters that have this predominant dad, the Sage Northcutts, the Stephen Thompsons. We see this it's almost like how that stage mom is for a pageant girl. That's what these fight dads seem to be. It's almost like how a pageant mom, they'd be like, how long have they been living through their kid? How long have they been pressing? And we were talking about Mackenzie Dern's fake accent and her whatever. And so psychologically, how that could be from stress and from whatever.
Fluctuating accent, look it up.
We think the fluctuating accent started, and you heard it here first on Lesbo and The Bean, if you want to get deep on this. We think it started with her first loss and her and her dad's relationship, something about it. And I wonder if her mom is the American parent and her dad's the Brazilian parent.
I believe that's...
And so if you would want to even be more like your father, wouldn't you tend to take his... everything. You'd want to be like him.
Well, and she has been living in Brazil in the formative years of her life. 16 to 18, 20, those are formative years. You really start to gain
That's our Freudian shit on Dern.
Woo! Getting deep. On Lesbo and The Bean, but we got so much more to go. We got so many other things to go. Ray Borg, if you've been out there and you can donate, or you can just retweet to somebody that can. I know his son's getting a stent. They've raised enough money. I know there's been a lot of donations, but I'm sure there's going to be lifelong medical bills that are going to come up for that. Hopefully Borg can get back to it so he can make some of that money without that glass in his eye.
And one more controversy.
Right.
Just so you know, Lesbo and The Bean is split on Yanni verse. What is it, Lorraine?
You're gonna mark us.
I just said split. I'm not gonna tell him
about
which is which. I just said split.
Dirty split.
Split. Just so you know. I don't even remember what the other one was called. Yanni verse. What is it? Tell me. Laurel. Yanni verse Laurel. Split.
Dirty split.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Any last UFC stuff before we get into this?
There's so many fight fans that are like, who wins Yanni and Laurel fighting? Is this something Bellator shit?
It's a strawweight bout.
Is this going to happen on the Russian card? Kind of sounds like it could.
Officially, Moscow, now in the books, right?
Yeah, I think it's in September.
Late breaking here at LaTB. There's been also a few other fun ones put together, but again, we got, is it 13 fights to break down this evening?
Yeah, I guess we don't have to talk about gossip, and it'll just naturally come up as we talk about this card.
Usually tends to.
And we'll get off, and there'll be 2 or 3 things that we'll be like, I can't believe we didn't bring that up. There's something at home that they're like, no, don't move on. You haven't talked about blank. There's not any fights on this card I even care about.
You got to care about them all because there are always moves in the UFC. Wins and losses affect the roster, and the quicker you can get your money out on these lines with the best sports bets is the way you make money moves. That's how you do it. You got to grind it. That's why we're out here looking this stuff up so you guys don't have to grind as hard. You could get some informed information on the way these things are kind of planning out.
You got to care about them all because we gonna talk about them all.
This is the truth.
Even if it's Magana, we talking about it here at Lesbo and The Bean. That's our new shirt, even if it's Magana.
Even if it's Magana. To the breakdown, we have UFC Fight Night 129, Maia versus Usman. This is a short notice replacement, but we're going to start from the bottom to the top. we're gonna go with Felipe Silva versus Claudio Puelles. Both of these fighters have fought in the UFC. This is their second go at it. Both of them did lose their debuts in the UFC. Puelles, what's his nickname? El Niño. Is it Melendez? Also El Niño? The Diaz homie? Gilbert Melendez?
Probably.
I think it is El Niño. So, either way, Puelles,
Old Gil.
7-2. Comes in with striking attributes. Has okay ground game. Loses a lot of position. Has had a lot of fights on the regional Latin America scene that haven't been high caliber. And in the UFC, he got picked apart quickly by his opponent in Martin Bravo TKO a year, 5 months ago. Silva is aging at 33 years old against a 22-year-old Puelles. Silva is sloppy, but he has power. He has dad strength. He is shredded, but he doesn't look like a very muscular guy. He looks more of that lean and wiry. Very looping in his strikes. Ground scrambles. Also, very, very crazy. This fight night is going to be out of Chile. Are we at sea level in Chile?
Chile. I will look that up while you continue.
So either way, Silva likes to keep it striking. Throws looping, spinning back fists that are really, really slowing against high-level strikers. That's going to be something that's going to be exploited. At 33 years old, he's going to stay in his old man kind of forward movement, good pressure, good strikes. He does have a bigger repertoire in strikes than what I saw in El Niño. But El Niño is so young at 22 that off of his first loss, he can make a gigantic leap at 22 years old, where Silva, again, we're going to know what we're getting at. He's going to be maybe even a bit slower since his last fight.
Do you know what the capital of Chile is?
No, I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to disgrace people. I'm not going to
Santiago. I was going to guess Ponzinibbio.
Oh!
My boyfriend.
In surgery, getting better, already looking to book fights.
Valley surrounded by the Andes and the Chilean coast range. Where is this fight taking place in Chile?
This is going to be in... Oh, I'm too far past that.
Don't even worry about it. I'll
So,
find.
Silva, I'm going to pick just because he does have a bit more power, and we really saw El Niño get hurt and not recover well at all. His gas tank was also super atrocious, more so than Silva, where he's ground out a couple more wins at 8-1. For his first loss only being in there to Taisuma. Silva won 2 fights before that. I'm going to go with Silva, TKO round number 2. I think that Puelles is going to be better showing of himself. He could get the finish early as well. This is a stay away all day. I'm going with Silva, TKO round 2. Puelles can surprise us all. He's young enough. I can see that. I think it's a stay away. How do you go?
I think it's stay away all day. I think both guys are they are going to stand and throw blows, and both guys could equally as be caught on the chin and get knocked out. And so I think this is a stay away, even though I have Silva, because I like the last name, finishing in round 1.
Wow. For 9,400.
I'm not going to play it
on
anywhere.
DraftKings.
I'm going to stay away.
For Silva against
stay away.
6,800.
So it's actually
Puelles.
taking place in Movie Star Arena in Santiago, Chile.
Ooh. Wonder what movie stars we're going to see there. Dolph Lundgren, hopefully.
Who's
Katy
Chilean?
Perry. Santiago Ponzinibbio.
That's it. He's the most famous Chilean.
And I think he's Argentinian.
And he is the most famous
Miss
Chilean.
Chilean. Still. So, on to another fun one. We're going to go to the 135 division. We have Enrique Briones versus Frankie Saenz. These are both aging fighters with a 16-7 record against the 11-5 Saenz. They are both 37 years old. Briones is coming off of a 3-fight losing streak. Saenz actually coming in with his last win in a split decision, but losing 3 in a row prior to that as well. I would say, though, Frankie Saenz has a much higher level of competition than Briones, and Briones still hasn't been able to get through. Even though Cody Garbrandt a few years ago was a good decision for him, he didn't get finished in there, He was finished by Douglas Andrade and also by Ronnie Yaya submission 8 months ago. So Briones' gas tank is just really not there, but his left hand really hurts people. Briones tends to keep it striking, has serviceable takedown defense. And serviceable, I'm saying like 52% takedown defense. It's not, it's in the plus, but not by much. Maybe 58%. But Saenz is going to be able to exploit that. He likes to take a shot, likes to throw overhand rights into double leg takedowns, and he'll grind you be on top. Briones doesn't have the best submission game from the ground. He'll use Kimuras to try to sweep stuff, but I think at this level, all these guys know how to defend or counter the counter of a Kimura. So I'm going to give the decision to Saenz. This is going to be a dogfight of a fight. I think it's going to be closer than people think. I'm not sure who's the odds favorite off the top of my head, but I am going with Saenz. I'm assuming he is going to be the favorite. Where do you feel this one goes?
Same. I think it's going to be a boring fight, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's fun. I'm just telling you it's going to be like on the ground for 3 rounds and then it's over. It's not. We're not going to see it a highlight ever of this fight.
You will never even remember it happened afterward. I think this is a grilled cheese maker.
Ooh, this early in the night?
Just enough to get you to... Because we are on a Fox night. Is it an FS1 to Fox?
This is going to be an FS1. Is it going to be Big Fox, though? That's where we'll have to verify. But this does start at 6 p.m. So this is going to be an afternoon on the East Coast side, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. And if you're anywhere else in the world, be sure to check your local listings.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be
early fight night. Is it? No, 6 p.m. Not too early.
That's going to end us at 1
Okay, so we are going to have Fight
1
Pass prelims. It says 6:30 that they're going to start. And the prelims start at 8 on FS1, and the main card starts at 10 on FS1.
All right, they will be brought to you on FS1. But with 9,100 for Frankie Saenz against Henry Briones' 7,100, do you feel like you're going to play any of these guys on your DraftKings?
I don't... Saenz might be, like, if I have... No, because he's too expensive in my opinion, and I bet he doesn't lay out enough points. I bet he's like a 58-point, 62-point guy.
I agree with that. I think this is also a stay away. Quickly to get back on the numbers, just because I haven't pulled up real quick, we have Silva as a minus 310 favorite against El Nino, and we have Frankie Saenz a minus 220 or 280 favorite against Henry Briones. So yeah, we're decided favorites. Those are 3-1 odds, both of those guys. People are seeing what we see, and these lines have been out for a day or two. So, anything left with either of those gentlemen at 135?
No.
Then we go on to some other Latin Americans in Enrique Barzola at 145 pounds against Brandon Davis. Brandon Davis coming in with a 9-4 record against Barzola's 14-3. One of the few losses that Davis has had is against Kyle Bochniak in a decision 3 months ago, but has come back a month later and won a decision against Steven Peterson on a short notice fight. Barzola coming off of a 3-fight winning streak, a lot of those being in the UFC. His Latin America wrestling roots are always a standard here at LaTB. We tend to pick Barzola because he does make a dirty, grinding fight, has a good gas tank, has ever-developing striking. Being 29 years old, he still has time to really get in his prime and has really started to adapt his wrestling with his striking, where we saw him be a wrestler at first, then we saw him be a striker, and now it's that transition. Brandon Davis, though, he's a gritty fighter. Coming out of that Alan Belcher scene, he's good everywhere as well. I'm going to give the striking slightly to Barzola because I like his jab a bit more than Davis, but Davis I do feel has power and some interesting combinations. Okay, takedown defense, I think Barzola will be able to exploit that, but Davis on the ground gives people fits. He really does throw up a lot of stuff and is able to sweep and do some good movement stuff. Barzola, those wrestling, you know how we like them here. They like to just sit on top and land punches until a decision is over. And I feel like that's the way this is going to go. This is going to be Barzola decision 30-27. How do you feel it ends up finishing by the end of the night?
I like everything you're saying, and I know that's a safer bet. Brandon Davis is just a guy that will F up your night. he is so unconventional. And I'm finding these guys that are coming out of MMA gyms instead of just with a wrestling foundation or just with a boxing foundation. Or it's really interesting the styles they're coming out with. I think Brandon Davis has a weird rubber guard. I think he has crazy combinations. I think he has looping and straight punches. He has weird power. He is a guy that even if he's not going to be finished, I think there's money to be made on Brandon Davis, and I have him by decision in this fight.
So, Brandon
It's crazy.
Davis
I know.
7,300 against Barzola's 8,900. That's a little steep for a decision. The takedowns do tend to accumulate a bit more. The betting lines is actually Barzola minus 195, the big underdog on Lesbo's side, plus 160 for Davis. Are you going to put him on a couple little parlays? Are you going to put him on some of your draft king?
Wow. I tend to be right with Eric Barzola. I do always have him, except for the time that he lost. And
You went the other way? Or you picked him?
I picked Barzola that time, and I want to find out because I would guess that my record with Brandon Davis is not great because I usually tend not to like him, and I know he's won since he's been in the UFC. So, 50-50 with Brandon Davis. This is a weird time to go with him for sure.
More of a coin flip, it sounds
He's
like.
easy not to like. He's an easy guy not to like. I can see how I would say 30% of the Barzola favoritism on Tapology right now is just the American top team under the gym.
I thought I made a good reason with just being like, hey, we've seen his progression from Latin America, and a lot of these guys are coming from that Latin America series and or around there, so they tend to fight together because they live in Latin America, so they're like, what? Something that I don't have to get a passport for?
I like everything you're saying. I'm going to put Barzola decision, but I think Brandon Davis is your wager gauger. I think you put him on your card. I don't see him being finished.
I can see that. I agree. I have a decision as well. So that there might be the play in that. I do feel like the cash is going to be barely plus money on that decision for Barzola. Most people, I think, are going that way.
I'm switching it back to Davis. It's so weird.
We still have weigh-ins to go. We do still have weigh-ins, and we are in Latin America. You know the commissions are all, people miss flights and eat too much tiramisu and all sorts of good stuff. And we have some
boomerangs get thrown.
We got habitual weight missers coming on down the card. So it's going to be a fun one. But to another not so fun one.
You don't like Brandon Davis's takedown defense?
I don't.
Ugh. His takedown defense was okay.
I think he's relied so far on, he's like, okay, guys, take me down, because he expects to submit him, and then he gets stuffed, and then he's like, oh shit, now what do I can't get up, and then he gets ridden out, is what I think tends to happen to him. Especially against the Barzola style of fighter.
Yeah. Damn, staying with Davis. Staying with Davis!
You sound so sure. On to another grueling bout, though. We go to the 145-pound division. Gilberto Benani versus Gabriel Benitez. Again, both of all these guys played at the same time.
Bandane.
Why do I want to call him Benani? I feel like that's what we called him last show as well. Bandane is on a 5-fight winning streak at the very least. He's 14-4 against the 20-6 Benitez. Benitez been in the UFC a bit longer though, losing to the likes of Barzola, getting a loss to Feely, but beating Sam Sicilia like he should. Jason Knight also bit of an underdog there. A lot of people had Knight in that, and Benitez, that's I think his marquee win to date is that Jason Knight with the amount of hype he had and striking credentials. Benitez coming out of that AKA, we really see him evolve in his 29 years. He has a devastating body kick, left kick. Ask Cormier, ask anyone. They will tell you Benitez throws harder kicks than anybody they've ever seen. Benny, though, is no easy ride through the park. He won his debut against Martin Bravo, head kick KO. I believe it was in the second round. This was 8 months ago. Benani, though, I've seen even some of his earlier stuff. He does tend to get a bit more tired than Benitez. I think that AKA being there for a few years now after the show for Benitez has all started to come to fruition now that it's been 3 or 4 years. His body's adjusted, where Benani being at the team Oyama, which also has Kai credentials, Carla Esparza coming out of Oyama. There's also a lot of people that run through there. Also in a good position, but I'm going to end up picking Benitez decision. If not, I can go TKO round 2, round 3 once Benitez gets his range. Benitez has lost. Those losses were hard losses. So I got Benitez decision, tentative on the finish. How do you think this one ended up going down?
I really like Jason Knight, but he was a huge hype train that got bubble popped. It wasn't that he was a super... I don't even know the right word. High-ranked guy. He wasn't like that.
Super elite.
I really like Bandonnet here, and I think he can exploit, if that head kick has been found by Feely, I think it can be found by Bandonnet. I don't see either guy really getting a finish, though, here, and I do like what you're saying, that the longer it goes, the more it does lean toward Benitez's favor. I'm going to pick Bandonnet. Right now, I do have him decision, which is kind of the crazy thing, because it should more be a KO finish in round 2. But he's strong. I like his reach. I like his camp. I think they're putting together new, interesting things out of there. I'm going with Bandonnet. What's going on? It's an explosion in here.
Bandonnet at plus 185 against the minus 225 Benitez. I'm going with the favor here. Lesbo picking all sorts of
underdog.
All sorts of underdogs. Gonna make it interesting. One of us is gonna have a good card this weekend. One of us isn't. It's gonna be a fun night of fights. Or it evens out. We'll pick completely different cards and still get 8 apiece like last weekend. So hey, 8 apiece on a 13-fight card, you're over 50%. You're in the 63% range.
Not bad.
So Benitez 8,500 against Benani's 7,700 on DraftKings. How much do you think you're going to play either of these fighters, if at all? We've had a lot of stayaways so far, I feel like. A lot of these have been...
Yeah, the fact that I feel this way about a lot of them, I'm probably going to lean more to main card bouts, I think. Closer to. I like a couple toward the end of the prelims, but most of the fights I pick, I think, are going to be on the main. Most of the fighter combinations. I'll use these guys to fill in, and I'll probably hedge my bets, because I do listen to Lesbo and The Bean. So
Probably
if they split, I might have to as well.
On to the straw weights. 115-pound bout, though. We got Kondo versus Bentelho. Both of these ladies have fought in the UFC. 6-0 for Kondo and 6-1 for Bentelho. Bentelho coming off of a 4-fight winning streak. Her only loss coming into Viana Pereira, who's now in the UFC as well in a decision, and that little pit bull is a hard fight to get through. Montejo winning her debut against Pearl Gonzalez 6 months ago. Gonzalez getting the championship in Invicta, ordering that UFC fight credential. I think Pearl could actually come back. Montejo has showed that she's can be a little bit better. She has heavy punches, though. Montejo, what's her damn nickname? She's coming out of Nova União. She doesn't have a nickname. She does have a heavy right hand, switches well to the left and right, has good takedown defense. We've seen the women out of Nova União. Gedalia once at one point came out of there, but they know how to train these women to be good takedown. Just a regular old Nova União fighter. In the women's division, that's still effective for them. Eventually, I think that training style, like it has before for men, eventually got old. But right now, these women are coming from nowhere to get real professional training, and it shows leaps and bounds. And later on, like Gedalia, they'll move on to bigger and better camps. But Nova União still was one of the best all-time in the world for a while there. They know how to be champions, and I think they're going down the ladies' division. So, getting away from all that hype, we have Kondo coming out of Korea. She's 29 years old. Both of these ladies are 29. She's actually a Taekwondo stylist, has a good takedown, showed okay takedown defense in her debut, but against Jane Jiang in a split decision, the takedowns were absolute trash. They were thrown at her non-stop. She did go for takedowns, but they were very slow, very sloppy, and Kondo did show that she understood how to be able to just get some of those initial entries away. Do think Montello can get the takedown if she really looked for it. So this is going to stay striking if Kondo can keep it there. This, to me, is one of the bigger coin flips of the night. I know I'm going with a big underdog here, but I think Kondo sneaks out a decision. I think that she can put a game plan together from what I've seen in her fights better than Botelho. I think Botelho, even in her decisions, wins the first 1 and 2 rounds, and then sometimes will just coast through that third, where Kondo is that sneaky striker and comes on in the third. And I think that I might even go with a third round finish for Kondo, but I think it's death by 1,000 cuts decision with the underdog for the Bean. How you going, Lesbo?
I got Kondo all day.
Oh, damn! Woo!
She is a little pit bull. She comes on strong the entire time. She's almost like a Jessica Andrade's forward pressure, but she lays a lot more punches. She's just constantly coming.
Yep.
I hate to say this. I may get a lot of hate. I think Novanyal is Novun Mo.
USADA really took a hit for them, especially in the stateside.
In my opinion, everyone who is excelling has left there, and everyone who's there is in my opinion. I'm sorry. I know that's going to give me a lot of hate. I think it's going to be a dirty split, though.
I could see that. Totally.
And I feel like the Brazilian could get it. This is a sketchy one to me. This is sketchy. So even though I do have Kondo decision, I'll put Kondo. I'll put Kondo on a few. I probably won't have Botelho on any.
Plus 145 Kondo against the minus 165. I think that's spot on odds. That Kondo should be the
Even if Kondo loses, I guarantee you she lands more punches.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then she gets taken down right away. But, woo, this is actually a more interesting bout than I thought initially now that we broke it down.
You listening? You need some elbows from the bottom, girl.
In case you need a translator, these
elbows from the bottom. I won't even do a racist Asian voice while he does that. Because I wouldn't do that.
Just so you know. But what we will do is go on to the 125 pound
Oh, did you see that our girl is going to be announcing this card?
Our girl.
Our girl. Like, our girl.
Misha can't get on no plane because she's going to have a baby in the air.
Not my girl. Our girl. No, Bullet Valentina.
Is announcing?
Yes.
I'm going to have to take a midnight shower.
Yes.
I am going to have to.
She speaks, can speak all the languages. Right. She can speak English fine.
Is she going to be on box?
You're FS1.
Ooh, we got to put something together because she's about to blow up next level. Take it to the next level.
I know. We need like a song and then we need to have a short. What about if I make a short and we do an Ode to Valentina little
thing? We also need to do that Valentina challenge. Been talking about
we
that
do
for a
need
while.
to do it. If we do it, we should do it on air.
Ooh, no, we could be in that full suit all day.
And sit with my gut hanging out.
Might be a photo shoot type of time.
I think you do it and I just take the picture.
We're going to have to flip a coin.
Anyways, so pay attention to the bullet. Or Lesbo and The Bean on Twitter because we tweeted that out today.
At the flyweights. 125.
We even wrote it in Spanish.
We did. Espanol. But going to the male 125 pound division, we're going to have Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja 2. And this is the second time because they fought in the Latin America fight scene on the show. Pantoja won a decision, if not potentially finished Moreno, if I remember correctly. But Pantoja coming in with an 18-3 record against Moreno's 14-4. Was this bout already scheduled and we broke it down once for the second time?
I feel like it's like 30 times.
Yeah, it like fizzled already once and they changed it over to this card. So I can't remember all those, but I think I feel like I've broken this down quite a few times, and we're going to see more of the same with Pantoja all the way around. He is a better fighter, has better strikes and is a crisper boxer, where Moreno is craftier, throws more looping punches, and is willing to throw those powerful shots to get off balance because he's so confident in his triangles off of his back. That's been his keepsake for a long time. And what happens with Moreno is, against a good striker, the feints will eventually add up. All that good striking is eventually add up, just like Pettis showed us with the last loss for Moreno, being Sergio Pettis, showing what an elite striker can truly do when they don't want to go to the ground with you. I do think Pantoja can emulate some of that stuff, but is a little bit more scary as far as the power with his legs and his punches. I'm going to go with Pantoja decision. I feel like I went this way before, and it's going to be a fun one. This could be a fight of the night contender because these scrambles are going to be insane. Both of these guys like the scramble, especially Moreno. That's where he does his best. He'll catch up a guillotine choke in the scramble. But I am going to lean with Pantoja. How do you feel this one goes down?
If it goes to decision, Pantoja probably will win. I did not think Brandon Moreno looked good in his last outing. It has nothing to do with the loss on his record against Sergio Pettis, and it's not because I think Sergio Pettis is some future superstar. I felt like something did not turn on for Brandon last time in the octagon. He just looked weird. It was something like, come on, kick, come on. Kick, punch, do something. He was just, I don't know if he got stunned early or what.
He was fighting a lot at that time. He had
like maybe too much?
2 or 3 fights in like 6 months or something.
Like maybe too much weight cutting.
Exactly.
Because they get down to a small ass little weight.
And he's a longer, gangly guy. At 24 years old, he is putting muscle on as much as he is. He's not staying that size. Good call. I think you're right on with that weight issue. But 8 months...
8 months is enough time. I like Brandon Moreno. This is just as much of an emotional decision that I'm making as it is a smart. I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno, and I think he does figure out how to submit Pantoja in round 3. And I can't believe he's the favorite. I think my brain all tells me Pantoja in this. I'm going with my heart on this one.
Pantoja is 8,200 against the 8,000 for Moreno on DraftKings. That is a really, really close line. Also,
that's about right. That's about right.
Plus 105 against minus 125 for Pantoja. Pantoja being the favorite slightly there. That could be even money minus 115 by fight day. Easy. This is a coin flip. This is a deemed coin flip, right?
It could be. Anything could happen in this one for sure.
Right. It's going to be a fun one. Can't wait for that one. Now we're moving on.
I'm not going to be playing a lot of cards.
This weekend you're going to let it pass by?
I'm going to watch and enjoy this weekend.
There's going to be some crazy stuff happen. I can feel it. It's in the... Something's coming in the air tonight. Oh, no.
Woo! Oh, no. I know. I was thinking I wish I had a lighter. Do you remember? You remember, don't worry.
I know that was the wrong beat, but...
Yeah, why you just skipped it? Don't bore us. Get to the
chorus. Get to the fucking... Yep. So, though we go down this fickle course of beautiful songs, we're going to get to the main Fox fight, not FS1 main event. Before we get to the main event, this is a feature bout for Michel Prazeres versus Zach Cummings at 170 pounds. This is somebody who is a habitual weight misser in Prazeres. Every time he's missed weight, I've put double the money on and made it all back. Because Prazeres has been on a 6-7 fight winning streak. He is a little tank of a man. Literally at 5'7", it's more like 5'5", with every bit of juice squeezed out of this mofo. His gas tank was an issue his first fight. EPO has run well with his body at 36 years old. He's now that the new sanctions have come in, has really started to fade more later in the rounds, but has had serviceable striking, power in his strikes, good head movement, good body, 2-head attack, and on the ground, he really overwhelms people. You can see he has a couple north-south chokes where you see him latch onto someone, and he's like a little troll. He just doesn't let go of you. The interesting thing, though, here is Zach Cummings is an ultra wrestler, a good jiu-jitsu guy or anti-jiu-jitsu guy, has a good gas tank. Striking's okay, but Zach Cummings is a humongous 170 pounder. He probably weighs in at 190. Praceres, he might get in at 190 after he weighs in as well. But the size is going to be definitely in Zach Cummings' favor. I think Zach Cummings wants to keep this standing, even though he's serviceable on the ground. It's definitely somewhere you don't want to go. Zach Cummings coming in with a 21-5 record. One of those few losses is against Ponzinibbio, and that's because Ponzinibbio was able to use that takedown defense, eye pokes, and striking to keep it up. You know that Ponzinibbio knows. But since then, Cummings has rattled off 2 wins against Voliev in a submission and then Nathan Coy in a submission as well. Again, I think Cummings wins this striking. This is going to go to decision. Cummings, this is a super close one, though. We are in Latin America. The juice is flowing for Prazeres. He doesn't
always.
fight.
He only fights where he can flow the juice.
Exactly. So I might stay away from this one, even though I like Zach Cummings in it. What do you think goes on in the end, by the end of the night in this one?
Well, Fat Boy Prazeres, because he is... the reason I made the fart noise is because right when you said that, I was remembering his last fight where he weighed in 6 pounds heavy, and it made me think of Mackenzie Dern, and that is the immediate noise that came out of my mouth. I was looking at him, and I just thought Mackenzie Dern. So yeah, he has won all of his last fights every time that he cheats and weighs into another weight class, which is exactly what Mackenzie Dern did. So now he has to step up and fight a 170, a huge 170. So good luck to you. I think you're going to have a harder time overwhelming Zach Cummings like you did these other guys, but I think it will be so funny if Prazeres weighs in at like 181 for the one thing.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I even think the height is going to be crazy with Zach Cummings. The reach is going to be crazy. He's not a slouch on the ground. I don't even think it'll get there. I don't think Prazeres is going to have the cardio that Zach Cummings is going to have. Zach Cummings just puts it on you. I like him everywhere here. And even though he's not a finisher, he will get enough points to make it worth your while.
So Cummings being...
I'm underdogs all night. That's my...
Zach Cummings' actual favorite at minus 140 against Prazeres is plus 120. Zach Cummings, though, on DraftKings is 8,400 against the 7,800 for Prazeres. Prazeres might be worth his money on there if we're seeing a decision. Just saying. But it is a closer fight than I think 140. I think this is in that minus 120 for Zach Cummings. He should be slightly... And actually on Tapology, most people are going Prazeres. Heavy decision, 69% as of the 503 people that have voted on that right now.
Wow.
Right? Interesting fight. A lot of people seeing it. It is going to be controversial, to say the least.
I'm going with Whitney's brother, Zach. I don't know if they're related. Wouldn't that be a fun piece of info if I told you it here first?
So
everyone's like, who's Whitney Cummings? If you don't know, you should know. Look it up. She's smart and funny.
To the main event.
And sexy.
Very.
That's three. That's the combination. That's the best three.
The killer combo. But
the trifecta.
How do we feel about the main event? Are we going to keep chugging along, or are we going to break this up into a special delight for the night?
I don't know. We are at 42. We probably could make another episode about the main card only.
Just the main card. There's enough to talk about. It's where the fun fights are at. Might have a little more to say.
Yeah, and everybody seemed to like the 2 episodes last time because we have some people that aren't a fan of all the prelims and some people that are just main card geeks, but I feel like you miss some hot gossip if you don't listen to the whole thing, but that's on you.
That's a good point. One little quick thing with the hot gossip to bring up.
We could talk about it on the next show.
Oh,
it'll hold people on. Like, should we talk about it now? Nope. You'll have to tune into the next episode, which will be released pretty quickly after
So are
this.
we going to make these like 103.5?
I don't know. I think I had to do something like that last time.
Right? Because I do remember that there was some
like
clerical errors.
101A.
But either way, we'll figure that out. The main card's coming around the corner.
Thanks
if
for
you
listening
don't know,
to this.
You better know.
Hit the bell. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Do I Lesbo the Bean?
Thanks for listening to LaTB. For all things Lesbo and The Bean, head over to lesboandthebean.com or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.